Good evening guys, technical issues there in the beginning, but welcome back to the third live stream. Andy here, FOD Runner. Thank you all for joining. Whilst you say hi and I say hi, I'm just getting the chat up on my computer here. So I hope you're all well this evening. Thank you very much for joining me again tonight. Let's get the chat open and see who's online tonight. This evening is sponsored by Tetley's Tea and Walker's Sensation Crisps. Let me just turn the sound off on here because I've got a bit of feedback. Don't know if you can hear that, just bear with me 2 seconds. There we go, job done. So evening everyone, how are we all doing? Tonight's topic is the importance of a training plan. Jack, good evening mate, I hope you're well. James, watching from your sofa, good evening mate. Clean Coach Katie, hi Katie, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Andy, no bugles, no, not bugles tonight mate. Just these bad boys. Katie, watching from Dublin Airport. Awesome. Where are you off? Obviously off to Dublin. What are you off to? Is for a holiday? For a race? The Vegan Runner. How are you doing, mate? You good? I hope you're well. Jeffrey, hello, mate. How are you doing? High altitude training. Ah, Greg. Watching from my office while eating sushi for lunch. Nice. Thank you so much for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Bays. How did the session go, mate? Hope it was good. Clean Coach Katie coming home from a good few days. Nice. Awesome. Stu is in the chat room. Stu, mate. Stu is the person that got my Severn Bridge night race footage. Mate, good evening. I hope you're well. Clean Coach Katie, meant to be doing a race, but it got postponed because of the football. I like football, so I can't comment, but that's a bugger. So anyway, guys, welcome to this evening. So today I want to talk a little bit about having a training plan, the benefits of it. I mean, I personally have had lots of benefits from having a training plan, but I want to hear your guys' story. So we're going to have this structured slightly differently this week. So the first 2 live streams I've done, I've waffled far too long. So I'm going to keep this a bit shorter and sweeter, aim for around the half-an-hour mark. I'm just going to talk for 5 minutes and then I'm going to throw it out to you guys and then we can have a Q&A on that topic and then about other running stuff or whatever you want really. But I just wanted to touch base really on training plans. How beneficial they are. Do you guys use training plans or do you not? Do you find them beneficial? Do you not? Start putting a bit of discussion in the chat about training plans. I just want to talk to you about my experiences with them. So I've been running, I think I've said it a few times now, for 2.5 years. And basically the first year I didn't use a training plan. I just ran at like as fast pace as I could all the time, every time, which was ridiculous. And I did all, you get so far, but start of the second year, I decided to hop on a plan, and ever since I've raced with and trained with plans, I've found humongous benefits from periodising my training, from doing specific sessions, just everything that goes with having a training plan. I always find like within, if I start a training plan block, say maybe week 3 or 4, I feel that training starting to kick in, and then once I've actually run the race that I've trained for, maybe have a week off afterwards and then kick back into it, I often find that maybe 4 or 5 weeks later I get that impact from that training block. So the training block I've just done back in the summer, I'm really finding is kicking in now, and also I think the whole tuning up for these races has done me the world of good, because as you might have seen the Severn Bridge night race the other night, my first race ever under 6-minute miling. 5:55 pace over 5 miles. I was over the moon. I actually ran my fastest 5k in that, which was 18:10 in a 5-mile race. I've got to go and race a 5k, guys. It's not my type of distance, but I'd love to get under 18 and have an official 5k time. But anyway, where was I? I'm waffling. So I just found so many benefits from having a plan and just having a structured routine, just basically not being airy-fairy with my training. I think the danger I find without having a training plan is that you can just one week say, oh well, I don't particularly fancy doing this week, so I'll just do this, and then suddenly after doing that a few times you've suddenly lost all track of what you're doing. You don't progress as well, in my opinion, and it's just all a little bit unstructured. I'm one of these people, I quite like structure. I like to know what I'm doing, and towards the end of a training plan I do get to the point where I want to finish it. However, as I'm going through the motions of the training plan, I 100% know the benefits of what it's going to give me at the end. I notice my head's being cut off on the camera, so I'm just going to adjust this a bit. See if you can get a bit more of my head in there. There we go, that might be a bit better. Right, let's get back to some questions. So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you use a plan? Do you not use a plan? Tell me your benefits, your pros and cons. We'll talk about the cons of a plan in a minute because I know there are a few. So let's just see what you guys are putting. Let's get back to where Clean Coach Casey, done that one. Run, Drink, Eat. Good evening, mate. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Honestly, Jeffrey, I've just been running on feels. I never stuck to a plan. Yeah, I mean, I used to, mate, to be honest with you. Just as a quick note, guys, I noticed the watching count's gone right down. Is everyone okay? Can you hear me all right? Is the video streaming okay? Just let me know. Honestly, I've been running on feels, never stuck to a plan. Yeah, it's one of those things. When I started out running, I didn't ever have a plan. I didn't even really know where to start with a plan, to be honest with you. But once I got up my first plan, I've never looked back from having something structured. It just helps me structure the week. Mate, if you've got on a plan now for your races next year, after watching your marathon, and you said you've got loads to train for 2018, if you've got your first plan started now, you'll rock it in 2018, mate, I promise. Just jump into the bottom quickly to see if it all looks good. Run, Drink, Eat, nice and clear. Jack, stream looks all good from here, mate. Okay, super, that's fine. So, where were we? Rossa Runs, good evening, mate. How are you? And thank you very much for your message the other night on Facebook. Really appreciate it. It's good to connect. I've made self-made plans organised around race schedules. Yeah, I mean, if you have the knowledge and the ability to do that sort of thing, that's the ideal, isn't it? If you know when your races are, you can structure. So I've had 2 plans this year that I have used, which weren't my own, and then come September time, when I started the autumn series and I knew I had to tune up, I made my own specific plan up until now, because I had 6 races and I wanted to specifically tune up for at least 2 of them. So I worked out what I wanted to do, and it's worked well. I think if you can get to the point where you can make your own plans and do the right workouts for the right races, that's an ideal thing. Bays, I previously used a training plan, the London Marathon website for my first marathon, from a company. And how did you find that, mate? Was that a good one? I used one for a company for later on and got a PB. That's awesome. Exactly. So I think it's the structure. I think when I learned the whole thing about having a plan is that if you have a 12-week plan, for example, and let's just say, in my case, the one I'm doing from the High Altitude Training Camp, it's got 2 types of workouts in it. You want those workouts to be progressing gradually through the plan, so you want to be spending more time in the relevant zones whilst building your mileage. That's the whole idea. If the danger is not having a plan, is to be doing, I'll do a 3x2 mile tempo this week, and next week I'll do a 3x10 minute threshold, and then I'll do this and I'll do that. And actually, you might one week spend longer in the threshold zone than you do the next week, and ideally you want the time spent in the zone to go like that across the plan, but actually you tend to find that they do that. So that's what I've found is really beneficial. Jeffrey, hello, Run, Drink, Eat. The Vegan Runner, I think a structured training plan is so important to keep you patient, exactly, and not too excited, racing every weekend and too many sessions. 100%, because this last part of the year for me, I've decided to cram in a lot of races because I didn't do a lot in the beginning of the year, and I'm actually paying dividends for not having too many races in the beginning of the year. and I'm just spending this last part of the year having fun, because I think that's what it's all about. But the first part of the year, up until August, I didn't do many races, and I focused on a specific race and trained for it. So that's a really good point. By the way, mate, I need to see what your training's doing. You know, I don't see how you're doing with your training anymore on Strava, so you need to give me an update. Rossa, if I have mountain ultras, I train shorter distance with more vertical climb. Yeah, exactly. So it's all about the, so if I can say this word, specificity, I don't know, whatever it is, the specifics for the race. So if you've got, like James, for example, when I was in the chat room, he won't mind me talking about this, his ultra he had recently, and I didn't do it for my Brecon Beacons race, but his one, he completely changed up what he was doing, because it was an ultra, he was doing lots of long, slow miles, and he was getting the vertical in, finding some routes around here, a place called Mayhill, you might have seen a video on my channel, doing that run, getting 3.5, close to 4,000 foot of elevation on some of his runs. It was about 3.5, and doing the right specific training for it. So you're exactly right there, mate. James, I did a plan for London but felt restricted by the structure and pacing ambitions. However, I made it up as I went along for my trail marathon and had a blast while training. Exactly, so let's come to the cons, and that's a big point that I was going to talk about. There are cons to training plans. There is, if you're not used to them, you can definitely feel too structured, you can feel too pressured. With what I learned with the last training plan, definitely, and this is advice to anyone, is that if a training plan says to do something in a specific pace range, it's just a guideline. That's what you want to obviously try and hit, but if you're struggling with that pace or you're too quick, don't stress about it, just do it to your best ability, because actually you might think in your head that you can run a certain pace, which I've done loads of times, and actually you can't, you're not at that level, so you need to start doing workouts. I was having this conversation with James the other day. Our Garmin's allow us to put pace ranges, so I had 200 metres rep with 200 metres rest on it, and I could put, if I wanted to, that I wanted to run it between a specific pace, and I leave that off now. I used to put a specific pace in, I don't anymore, because actually my watch will start bleeping at me if I'm not going fast enough or I'm going too fast, and it's distracting. Really trying to dial in and learn how to run on feel. But we're all different. James uses pace because it keeps him on track, it pushes him. So that is a con of training plans. You can feel a bit restricted, but as I said, they are just guidelines. You want to follow them as much as you can, but do you know what? If one week you don't fancy doing a workout or whatever, you've got to remember, guys, it is all about enjoying running. High altitude training institute. I usually don't run if I don't have a plan. Helps with motivation. Exactly. So for me, you're the same type of person as me. I need something to motivate me. If I have a goal, if I have something on paper to do, I know what to do. So exactly when I found your plan, I thought this is fantastic because it's going to give me a goal. It's going to give me a purpose. I'm not just going to say I've got my Newport Half Marathon on March the 6th. Let's get running. It's going to make me go, right, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a side note, video going out on Friday of my first session. James, although a plan is good to keep focused and direction, exactly. Jack, stream looks good from here. Oh yes, thank you, mate. Rossa, run, always stretching core and some weights with running, different levels for different races. Exactly. Again, I've got a video that I've scheduled. I've been so organised this week, guys. I've filmed my Tuesday session, which was my first session off this plan. I edited it all today. I've scheduled that to go out on Friday morning at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and I've put my workout, my stretching and rolling routine, so it's all in there. You'll see what I do. But exactly, mate, you can't get through a plan without taking care of yourselves, and there's no point in jumping in at week 8 going, oh, I'm starting to feel a bit sore and stiff now. What's the point? You need to keep on top of it from the beginning. That way, come week 8, you won't feel as sore and stiff as you do. Run, drink, eat. From my recent experiences, I followed an 18-week plan and ended up missing a few scheduled runs due to life getting in the way. It does, mate. We have commitments and obligations. But the most important thing is I did not do was review the course. Yeah, okay, that's brilliant. Let's talk about that in a second. London Marathon 1 was Bays. Well, London Marathon 1 was okay, but really aimed at beginners. Yep, at the time, that was me, so it worked. Now it probably wouldn't work. Exactly, you've progressed, mate. The fact that you went and ran Abingdon Marathon when you hadn't done any marathon training in 3:50, and you just went, I'll go and run Abingdon Marathon. Mate, it's insane. You're a talented chap. I should have run, drink, eat. I should have planned running route. Should have planned the running route. Not expecting the hills. Yeah. Okay. Let's just before we go any further. That's a really good point, and I think we need to talk about that because with training plans are only as good as you know, the course itself. So you need to train specifically for the course. Now, I watched your video the other day. I did leave a comment. It looked really hilly, and that was really nasty then to put those hills at the end, but you have to do that. So with things like that, you might want to do things like long runs, and when you're at maybe say 10, 12, if your long run, let's say, is 15 miles, for example, or 14, whatever, you might want to like plan a route so that when you get to 11 miles, you then have a massive uphill or a really hilly or undulating section for a couple of miles, and then do a mile cool down at the end, just to get used to running on a similar but scaled down profile. Things like that. It's about studying and learning. When you do your course profile and you study it, which I'll be doing for Newport soon, on your easy runs, making sure that if it's a hilly course, your easy runs, even though you're taking it easy, maybe rather than just running flat easy runs, put some hilly ones in there. Just mixing it up, guys, doing some workouts. So my workouts, even though I'm going to be on tarmac, I'm going to try and split half and half on trail and road, because Newport is relatively flat, but it is a little bit undulating, and I want to be doing some workouts on the undulating trails around here. It's all about studying the course as well, so that's a really good point, mate. Where are we up to? High Altitude Training Institute. A well-designed plan will give the opportunity to work different things throughout the week, and running at the right pace is super important. I 100% agree. I am very much of the opinion, though, of like, if you don't know your pace, to be a bit more, not wary, but a little bit more experimental. So I know what my 10k pace is, my half marathon pace is, so I can, like, for example, I can look at your pacing guide and go, yeah, okay, that's where I am, and I know where I am. If this is your first plan you're doing, and you haven't run many races, and you don't know what your 10k time is, or your half marathon time is, or your marathon time is, therefore how are you going to know where your threshold is? So I think maybe if you're a beginner, maybe going out before you start a plan, running a time trial 10k, half marathon, whatever it is, to start to determine that. I think if you start a plan and you're new, I mean, beginner plans are more tailored to not running at specific paces as such. Well, they are, but it doesn't tell you to run a specific maybe minute mile pace. But when you get more advanced, you start to learn. So I think there's a bit of a grey area in terms of beginners and advanced as to pacing. Clean Coach Katie, I think it's a personalised plan is very important. It's how I've been able to keep to PB this year. You've smashed some amazing PBs this year. It keeps me focused, motivated, and means it's targeted around the races I have specific sessions. Definitely. And I'm guessing, because you're a personal trainer, aren't you? So I'm guessing you can probably write your own plans, which is really useful and helpful. Or do you get someone to write them for you? I'm not. That's a question to you. But it does, exactly. You know in the year what your target races are, and you're probably starting to think about what they are for next year as well. You might already know them, in which case you might be starting to plan already what your goals are. Where are we? Rossa runs. The biggest thing I can't figure out with training is nutrition. The thing that is specific to the individual and not talked about. This will be ongoing, I feel, forever. Just before I answer that question, I am still seeing the viewing fluctuating a lot from a high number to a low number. I'm just making sure that's a YouTube glitch and my stream isn't glitching out. If it is at any point, just say. Nutrition's difficult, mate, and I'm not going to advise on nutrition, because I'm not the best. However, I have put a section of nutrition in my video that's going out on Friday. So my rule of thumb is I'm not an elite athlete. I eat a pretty balanced diet. I say I eat an okay to good diet. I have more than my fair share of fruit and veg a day, more than 5 a day. However, I do also eat my fair share of rubbish. So all I've tried to get into the habit of doing is, rather than having this whole mindset change of, right, I need to eat a specific way, I go, right, after my workouts and before, it's important for me to get the right nutrition in. After that, that's when I might eat rubbish, bags of crisps, stuff like that. But literally before and after the running is when I will ensure I get some good carbs and proteins and fats in. Not so much the fats, but because I'm not a nutritionist, so don't take my advice. But that for me has worked mentally, because taking the step from having a rubbish diet, which I used to have, to going completely all clean, super green, plant-based or whatever is recommended, I've just gone halfway and gone, right, before and after my runs I will take good care of myself after that, and that's worked well. That's a good transition anyway. Joe Milton, hello mate, how are you? Just had my 1500 metre time trial. How did it go? Tell me, how did it go, mate? Run, drink, eat. I agree with Clean Coach Katie. Personalise a plan. I have mine on an Excel sheet. Exactly. High altitude training. Rossa runs. Practice and try until it works. Exactly. Jack, I started running just over a year ago. Awesome, and haven't followed a plan yet. Instead, I've been putting in the miles to build a bit of a base. Exactly. So when you're starting out, you want to build a base. And actually, the plan that I'm following, the first 4 weeks is a 20-week plan, and the first 4 weeks are just easy running. So every time you start a plan, it is important to have a solid base behind you. I've jumped in at week 16, but I've had a solid 4 weeks of 40 miles flat leading up to it. So I've been able to jump and miss that base stage. But it is important in any plan to do some base building first. When you get to the point though, mate, where you want to jump on a plan, again, you'll still see some base building. I mean, what's your weekly mileage? Tell me what your weekly mileage is. That'd be interesting to know. And what races do you run? What sort of distances? I've definitely noticed the progression's plateauing a bit recently, so I'll be researching a plan, getting some proper in place for the start of 2018. Exactly. Brilliant, mate. You will find, that's what I found at the end of my first year. I ran a whole year without a plan, and I just kind of stagnated. I ran my first year of running, I ran a 1:42.5 in the March. So I started in January, we ran a 1:42.5 in the March. October 1:30, I think 1:30, and then March next year 1:32. I had 6 months that I assumed I was going to progress. I mean, my second year of running last year was horrific until the tail end of it, but that was all kind of starting because I didn't have a plan. So after Cardiff, in the World Cardiff Half March that I ran, I jumped on a plan, and that's when things slowly started to get better. So I do recommend it, mate. Again, what distances and races are you going for? I haven't opened these yet. I need to open them. I'm sorry if it's loud. Rossa runs, high altitude training. I agree. I have trouble with my 100 milers with nutrition during the race because I can't get it down during training. Mate, it's just a different ball game. 100 milers are insane. You're such a good runner to be able to run 100 milers. And I'll be honest with you, mate, I cannot comment on 100 milers because, to be honest with you, I can't. I have really sensitive guts, bordering on IBS, I think. I have a couple of intolerances that I'm finding out over the last few weeks. Finally, I've been able to run in the evening for nearly all year because my guts go mad. Get out the door, I'm straight back in the house because my guts can't handle it. Last 3 weeks, I've worked out yeast wheat. I've got a yeast wheat bread thing going on. I've cut that out completely for 3 weeks. I've been able to run in the evening, so it's lovely. But like, I can't talk because I've got intolerances, so you need to speak to someone that runs 100 milers. Guys, this chat's mad. High altitude training, I can understand that. Personally, I find that if I get dehydrated, I can't eat anymore. Yeah, so I always concentrate on that first, then food comes with it. That's a good plan. Actually, Greg, mate, hi. For anyone that's interested, I am doing the High Altitude Training Institute's plan, and his name is Greg, who's eating sushi on his lunch. What distances are your speciality? Obviously, I know you're a 1:16 half marathoner. Do you do marathons? Do you do ultras, 5Ks, 10Ks? What else do you do? Gosh, I'm so far behind. I'm going to have to rattle through some of these because I wanted to get one more question in. Run, drink, eat. Definitely study the course. I ran Rally NC before this. It was 10 times worse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's another reason. Have you got any races coming up booked now? Because I know you've just finished a marathon. What's your next goal? What do you think you're going to hop on to next? Jeffrey, Jack, that's what I've been doing for this year, getting the miles on the legs, not focus on a plan for races next year. I will train for them though, as they are tough. Jeffrey, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I watched your video today, it was absolutely fantastic, and it just reminded me of my first marathon. Me and James can sympathise. James, if you haven't watched it, click on Jeffrey's little icon, go and watch his marathon. Just kind of started to disintegrate around the point when ours did. Had stomach issues, looked to be in a dark place a couple of times, and then just picked it up at the end. It's just like, I think he said the 5-hour bus went past you and then you got back past it to qualify for your ultra, which, mate, is awesome, because when I had it, I'd had it. When you put that you filmed your time lapse and it hadn't worked, I was in hysterics, mate. Races that are like 50 plus with more than James, you're fine. Good. Stream's fine. Good. Still good, mate. Fantastic. Stu, mate, what's your just remind me, what's your next race? And we've got to do that Brecken's run soon, haven't we? Clean coach, Katie. I write my own plan. Oh, I write training plans for my clients, but I actually have my own coach. It means that I'm kept accountable. Good point. I think, I don't know if you watch Sage Canada VO2 Match Productions. He actually, you can see he struggles with his own coaching, but now he's got his other half, Sandy, doing it. He's actually starting to pick up and do well. Even though he's struggling to get back from mountain ultras to marathons, he's getting some quality sessions in. He's listening to someone else and he's getting better. I think to coach yourself is a difficult thing. Joe Milton, I ran 4:58 1500, which is my PB. That's amazing. I don't think I could do that. Maybe we should have a race. That's competitive. I ran a mile at 5:30 earlier in the year, and I'd done 8 miles in the morning of that evening mile, so my legs were shot. I know I could have done better, but I don't think I could have gone below 5:20, so that's a blooming good time, mate. Vegan runner. How did you manage to hold a camera whilst running 6-minute miles? You're crazy. Mate, I wanted to take you on the experience with me. I wanted you to feel the speed. Not that you need to, because you're quicker than I am. I just literally held the GoPro in my hand. I didn't focus on it, didn't have it on much. I literally just was clocking the miles and just went, right, quick 10 seconds clip of straight in front, maybe on my feet, maybe to the side, turn it off. Next mile, so I just wanted to focus on racing, but I thought I'd take the camera and just literally click it off and on 5 times, so I didn't have to focus too much. And when's your next race coming up, mate? Jeffrey, oh yes, Katie, that one is very important. Accountability, I can't rely on myself. Yeah, Bays, exactly. 4:58 is rapid, isn't it just, mate? That's phenomenal. Guys, I'm getting so far behind on this chat. Okay, whilst I keep going through these questions, any more pros and cons of a training plan, drop it in. The views are going up now, so obviously the live stream's okay. Joe, thanks, I'm 13, so I'm happy. Mate, it's ridiculous. You messaged me the other day on Instagram, didn't you? Yeah, you did. That's so good. Great job, Joe. Keep being awesome. Exactly. Good encouragement there, guys. That's what it's all about, community. And that's why I love doing these live streams, because I can actually talk to you. You watch my videos and I put my videos out, but actually the whole reason I built my favourite YouTube channel series is because I want the running community to connect and encourage each other. These chats like this, it's just perfect watching you guys encourage each other, helping each other out. It's all about connecting people and working hard as a team. Running might be an individual support, but we've got loads of runners that have each other's backs. Joe, thanks. I started running in September, so I don't think I have the stamina because I can do a 4:50, 1500, but I can do 1935 Yeah, but mate, even so, a 1935k, that's pretty decent. All you need to work on is your speed endurance there, nothing more, and that will come down below sub 19 easily. That's still a blooming good time. What's that? Is that about 6:30 minute miling, 6:20 or something? Joe, 100 miles is crazy. Yeah, it is, isn't it? The mental side of that is crazy. I walked 100 miles in 39 hours for school with sleep, and that was so hard I couldn't imagine running it. Awesome, mate. High altitude, I do ultras too, Andy. 50k so far. Wow, mate, that's it. That's wicked. 54 miler in April. That is awesome. 100 milers are for the insane people. I'm not there yet. I'm starting to agree, mate. I'm starting to agree. Rossa runs. Joe, nothing is impossible. Just have fun and you can achieve anything. Exactly, mate. Good encouragement. I like it. Joe, thanks. I'm going to start making videos as well. Good man. Do it. Post your channel in the chat when you do. We'll all subscribe. Outdoor stew, Mal's pie. No, wait. Oh, mate. I really wanted to do that, and James mentioned it to me, but it is... I've got a networking night for my business, so I can't. I was actually planning on... I was thinking about doing it. I was thinking of braving the wild boar, but I can't. I'm not around. Jack. Sorry, guys. Just having a few issues. Ah, there we go. We're nearly there. Jack, I built my base up to about 25 to 30 miles per week, running many 5Ks and 10Ks. Some longer. The goal is to build up to half a marathon distance next year and onwards from there. Awesome. Mate, 25 to 30 miles a week is solid stuff. Mainly running 5 and 10Ks. So what are your times on those, mate? That's fair play. That's a good base to have. Definitely a half marathon is looming for you, my friend. Joe, I just subscribed to your channel. Get some videos up. I will watch. Oh, do you have a channel already, Joe? Alright, I'll do that afterwards as well. Thanks so much. I filmed my long run on Saturday. Good man, do it. I'll subscribe after this too. Joe, you're probably starting 5K too fast and dying off. Am I right? Joe, I think I'm slow between... Right, okay. In which case... Yeah, he's right. So you are going a touch too fast. Well, I said this... I chatted with a vegan runner about this just briefly on the last live stream. I said to him... if you watch his runners, and I'm sure you will subscribe to his channel, he's got a great channel, he was running his 5Ks and he was positive splitting them, but his latest one, he did really well. It was a decent, even or slightly negative split, I think, and it was, I think you get so much more comes from negative and even splitting than positive splitting, not only for the fact that the paces look good on paper, but mentally you feel strong. When you hit the end of 2 miles in a 5K and feel strong, it gives you the will and motivation to push for the last mile of the 5K, for sure. Sub Joe, brilliant, well done. I think, am I up to date? I think I'm up to date, guys. So if there's anything else, guys, because we'll wrap this up in about 5 minutes, if there's anything else, any questions you want at all, just ask, running or not running, whatever, and anything else with regards to the training plan, just say. I've had a blast tonight, guys, I must say. I'm really enjoying it. Just really enjoying the chat and chatting to you guys. You're all awesome. So my final note on training plans are, obviously, from my personal opinion, I love them. They give me structure, they give me a plan, they give me motivation. What do you guys think? Do you enjoy them or not? Is there anyone that has had a bad experience with them? I was talking to, James made a valid point earlier, feeling restricted to the pace when we were doing that plan together. Sometimes it can be a bit too restrictive. So if anyone has found anything negative or not, that's fine. But any other questions, guys, just ask. Joe, open mouth insert for now, the accountability piece. Going to have to post some videos of training. Yeah, definitely, mate. Get some videos up. Bays, you're going too fast. Middle section is slowing to recover, then picking up again for the end section. Just go off a bit slower. 100%. And I find that out the hard way, because I do a lot of races where I go out and I try and hang on, or I go out too slow and finish quicker. But part of me really enjoys going out at suicidal pace and then trying to hang on and see how long I can hang on for. And to be honest with you, sometimes it's the only way you learn. If you fade in the last mile of a race, you fade in the last mile, it's a lesson learned. But sometimes I get a bit of an adrenaline rush hitting out early, but I have learnt the hard way of absolutely blowing out on my backside and finishing like a 10K, my last mile, over a minute slower than my first one. It's not good. How else you training camp? Yes, Annie, negative splits are the way to go. Oh, yeah, I mean, starting at the right pace, exactly, because that means you finish the race with decent splits all the way across. You're going to not fade. You won't have that mental battle. I think towards the end of a race, if you've paced it right, you'll have the struggle of keeping the pace up, but you won't have those demons creeping in. You'll get to maybe a half marathon, 11, 12 miles, and think, I've only got one more mile of this, so I can do it. You hit 8 miles and you think, oh, I've got 5 miles left. You might as well just pull the plug on it there and then. Jeffrey, I broke my half marathon on negative split. It always works. Doesn't it just? Right guys, have to go. Great job to everyone. I love the videos. Keep chatting with awesome, mate. I'm off as well in a second. I will see you next week. Thank you again, mate, for the messages. Really appreciate it. Thank you for joining in tonight. If anyone else has any questions, get them in now. I will be wrapping this up in literally 2 minutes. Just want to say a massive thank you to all that's joined in tonight. Really appreciate it. All of you guys are awesome. Bays, I thought negative split was a 0-calorie banana dessert. Brilliant. Yeah, anything else, guys? If not, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'm hoping to do a podcast next week. Someone's asked me with their YouTube channel that hasn't joined in tonight to do a podcast on their channel next week, which is awesome. That's really cool. So I might be doing my first one of those at 8 until 8:30, and then I will try and kick off the live stream from 8:30 onwards next week. All being well. I kind of decided that I would do this live stream thing every other week because I found it tough to get in every Wednesday night at the moment, but next week seems to be clear, so I will be back next week. Keep it in your diaries. I will be podcasting first if I'm 5 minutes late. Excuse me. Hi, Australian, great session. Mate, thank you so much. Once again, thank you for the plan. I promise I won't pester you with loads of messages. Now I know what I'm doing. Yeah, enjoy my video on Friday when I will be detailing my session. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Joe, I'm going to go and have a look at your channel in a second. I will see you guys next week. If there's anything else, or you check out the video that's coming out on Friday, if there's anything else, guys, whack it in there now. If not... Oh, Chris, late to the stream. We'll rewatch later. Awesome. Oh, mate, it's ending. Okay, just very quickly. Jeffrey, Chris shouting, Chris, exactly, Chris, mate. Watched your video today. Chris did an amazing job raising £1,000, $1,000 Australian dollars for his charity. He ran 15k after coming back from injury, did a great job. Talking of positive and negative splits, he ran so consistently throughout that race. You did, mate, you did amazing. I'm so glad you can join me tonight, even if it is just for 2 minutes, because you're normally like, at the beginning, I've got to go guys to work, have a good one. So, welcome. I'm sorry it's the end, but you did a cracking job, mate, especially on the charity. You are a charity superstar, so well done in all seriousness. Appreciate the support, no worries, it's a pleasure. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, as always. If you enjoyed this video, I would do my normal outro, give it a like, share and subscribe. Obviously you guys are watching, so thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this up here. If there's any questions you have after this about training plans, leave it in the comments below once I save the video. And that's it from me. I'm going to go and eat the rest of these that I've barely touched, finish off my tea, and go and enjoy the rest of the evening. Bays, mate, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you had a good session tonight. James, hopefully we need to get James back on here. We need to get his backside over here and doing another session so all of you guys can tell him to get over here. Ciao. Right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you on Friday with another video.